Hi there, it's Kathy Chenna with Tri-Cities Community TV, and we are at the Coquitlam Public Library located on the unceded territory of the Coquitlam Nations people. Today with me is Iman Bra, and he is the president of the Warriors Minor Ball Hockey Association. And I guess we're going to talk about all things to do with ball hockey. In my very limited research, I've heard that it's quite an upcoming sport, almost as good as like hockey. So maybe you can share with us, what is ball hockey?
So it's basically hockey without the ice. So no skates. Everything else is really similar in terms of ice hockey and ball hockey. No ice, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely growing. We've been able to double the numbers in the last couple of years, so we're close to about 600 kids for this past season. We started a girls program 2 years ago, so I was kind of scared whether we'd have a team, but we ended up with 5 this year. So
5 teams.
Yeah, 5
Oh,
girls
wow.
teams. So
That's
it's
great.
been really good. Yeah.
So you say without the ice, but obviously there's no puck, right? Is it
No.
actual ball that bounces?
It's a ball hockey ball, so like a street, what you would use for
Like bigger than a golf ball?
yeah,
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 okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Similar size to a tennis ball.
Similar size to a tennis ball. So you're co-ed now,
Yep.
right? And earlier we were talking about, what grade levels, age groups. Is it adults? Is it just kids? Tell me a little bit about that. Why would someone be interested in ball hockey?
There's a lot of reasons. I mean, one is, if some kids aren't comfortable with ice hockey, this is a great avenue for them. Other is usually it's ball hockey's played in the off season of ice hockey. So
Okay.
the kids that are, even at a high level of ice hockey, they love to play ball hockey because they're able to work on their stick skills and just still kind of engage in the game while not being on the ice.
Right.
In terms of the age groups, we start at U7, so that's our little guys, tykes. They do more development and sort of learning the game, and then it goes all the way up to U21. So it's a pretty big age group there. 14 divisions, I believe.
Where do the kids play out of?
So we're all throughout the Tri-Cities. We're at Port Coquitlam Community Center, Poirier, the Poirier Forum, and Port Moody Rec.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
things to manage and oversee. And
Yeah.
you said you're at about 600 students now.
600 kids. Yeah, we a couple years ago, before I started, we were about 230. So we doubled it last year, and then we added another about 100 to 150 this year. So it's been good.
So is it just, do you think, word of mouth? Like, how do you guys do your marketing? What
Yeah.
is it really that has attributed to the success?
I mean, I think we kind of modernized a little bit. Got on social media, started spreading the word that way. I talked to a lot of the other associations, whether it was ice hockey, soccer, and just reached out to the other presidents in the area, and a lot of them were willing to work together and kind of spread the word for us. So
Right.
that was really good.
And when we talk about ice hockey versus a ball hockey, we know that ice hockey is expensive, like
Yeah.
the equipment, the
Right.
ice time, the early mornings,
Yeah.
the cost to parents, and not to mention the investment of time.
Yeah.
How does ball hockey differ from that? Is it quite expensive as well?
No, not at all. I mean, so it's probably similar to, say, soccer
Okay.
or lacrosse. Our association fees are about, depending on the age, anywhere from $100 to about $350, depending on the age group. And then your equipment, you need a stick, helmet, gloves, and shin pads. So, not as much equipment. And no early mornings so far.
No early mornings.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the 600 kids that have enrolled.
Yeah.
What would you say your sweet spot in terms of, like, sure, there's the under 7-year-olds, right? But is it the 10 to 12-year-olds? Is it more the sort of 14 to 16? Where's the bulk of your
Yeah.
clients coming from?
It's you know what, we've been pretty fortunate because it's spread out pretty well. With the older age groups, U20, U21, it does tend to trend downward a little bit,
Right.
because kids grow up and they got jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, school.
And, yeah.
Higher level schooling.
Yeah. And then, our U11 group this year, so 10 and 9-year-olds, we had 6 teams in that age group. So it's all ranges from probably about 3 to 6 teams per division.
So how are the logistics managed in something that's this size, like with 3 different rec centers in 3 different
Yeah.
cities? Who does all of that sort of time? Like today we're in a space that obviously needs to be rented, and
Yeah.
when you're at the Port Coquitlam rec center and the other rec centers,
Yeah.
there's space. Like, do you just like allocate time? How does that all work? 'Cause it seems
Yeah.
like it's quite a daunting task.
It is a big task. So it's I guess the growth has sort of been hard because you don't we've had our sort of core 2 or 3 people doing everything, but with the growth you kind of looking for more people to step up. So that's probably one of the biggest struggles is just trying to get people to help and join the board or just join the association to help out. But right now it's probably a few people that are sort of managing everything that we're doing. So yeah.
So it's primarily volunteer
Yeah,
based.
yeah, it's all volunteer based.
So tell me about the infrastructure with the volunteers. You're the president,
Yeah.
and then you have a board of directors,
That's
and you
right.
have a secretary. So just
Yeah.
walk me through that.
Yeah, so we have I'm the president, so we have a board of 5, and then we have volunteers for coaches, obviously, team managers, evaluation coordinators, team manager, coordinator. So we have a few coordinators that help out, but it is, we're being a volunteer-based
So
situation.
no one's paid then in
No.
this organization at
No,
all.
no.
It's just pure for the love of their children and what they're doing. Do you have kids that play?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say you
yeah.
couldn't just be doing this one day, deciding
No,
that I'm
it's-
going to be the president of this organization without children.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for one person. So the more people that can help, it definitely makes things easier. So
So why do you think that ball hockey has gotten to be so popular?
it's definitely a small sport in terms of ice hockey and soccer, but it's growing, and the kids now have opportunities to play in worlds. Like we sent 2 kids from the Tri-Cities to play in Slovakia, and that team won gold. So that was pretty cool. But
That's
yeah, they get chances to play in the nationals. The end goal is for ball hockey to hopefully get into the Olympics one day. But it's grown up as a small sport, so it's about getting organized and just trying to get the sport at that level. Baby steps, I guess, right?
So there are other ball hockey associations in the other cities.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and they're quite large too.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
also trending on a good growth pattern.
Yeah. We're probably in the middle of the pack. There's associations in Surrey, Langley, and they are larger than us, but we're definitely making a name out here. So
Well, I mean, the metropolis area
Yeah.
covers so much more, right?
that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So one of the questions I was going to ask you is, where does ball hockey get you? Like as a person,
Yeah.
as someone that's in it. You said you sent some kids to Worlds this year.
Yeah.
What other kinds of things can kids aspire to become when they're playing ball hockey? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean that part of it is still a work in progress. A lot of the kids and families that are involved, it's for the love of the game at this point. But the goal is to eventually get it as an Olympic sport, and hopefully introduce it to schools and stuff like that. So
And so with your organization, like the U7, and we talked about the other, what was it, U11?
yeah, U11.
Right.
Yeah.
So for example, are these kids all beginners that come in, or do they have experience? Where are they getting it from?
Yeah, the spectrum's pretty large. So you got U7, U11, which is all sort of one level, and then when we move into the U13 age group, we tier it. So we have a tier 1 and then a tier 2. So the beginners would play tier 2, and then more of your rep kids and Div 1 soccer, Div 2 soccer kids would play tier 1.
And is this similar to sports that are popular where kids would need to try out for these different
Yep.
tiers, would you say?
Yeah. Yes.
And what's the not the timeline, but the season? You said
Yeah.
it's opposite of ice hockey. So
That's right.
what is the season for ball hockey?
Yeah, our season's not super long, but as soon as the ice is out at the rec centers, usually mid-March is when we start our evaluations, and we run till the end of June. So, this season we just we were fortunate and had a lot of workload, but we hosted the provincials in the Tri-Cities. So we had over 100 teams, over 2,000 kids playing.
From British Columbia.
Yeah.
200 teams, you said?
Over 100 teams
100
and
teams.
over 2,000 kids. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it was a lot.
And
but-
where did you do this?
So we use the 7 rinks. So
Oh, right.
Poco,
Yeah,
Coquitlam,
yeah.
and Port Moody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. And then all these people have to come down and find places to
Yeah,
stay, and
yeah.
oh, it's mayhem, mayhem.
Yeah.
So, why are you doing this? It seems like it's a lot of work. Are your kids still little?
Yeah, they are.
So
They
they have
are.
a lot of years left.
Yeah.
Hopefully they might not like the sport next year. No,
Well,
I'm joking. But the thing is, like, what's your role really as president? Are you like overseeing things? Like, I've been a president for various organizations, and I just delegate to my vice president. That's what a good president does. But I feel like you're a bit more hands-on. So, because you sort of have to be, I think, with maybe not as many volunteers.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your role.
Yeah, I mean, I got involved for, obviously, number one, my kids, and then two, I just wanted to help the sport grow. And, ball hockey is small, but we've made a lot of strides over the last few years, just trying to make it bigger. I don't know how I got involved in BC ball hockey as well. So, even at a provincial and national level, we're just trying to make the sport better and just more organized in general.
But again, like, I don't know necessarily if a person would think like, oh, let's put our kids in ball hockey.
Yeah.
Like there's t-ball and
Yeah.
softball and baseball and soccer, and there's normal hockey. There can be track and field. There's like all these different
Right,
things.
right.
Like, why ball hockey? Like, what was about it? Did you play as a young child?
Yeah, I played. Not, we moved from England, so we didn't have ball hockey out there. But once we were here, we were playing ball hockey or street hockey. So.
Is it something I was reading recently, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, but is it a big Southeast Asian sport?
I mean, it is big in that community.
Yes.
South Asians definitely love the sport.
Yeah.
But if you even look at our national team, right? It was majority Caucasian, but there was maybe a handful of other
Kids are coming from all different diverse backgrounds.
It's all over the
and
place.
things,
It kind of obviously it depends on the cities. If you're in Surrey, there's a majority of South Asians
Right, of
playing.
course.
But yeah, it's all over the place.
I run an education facility, and sometimes when kids come to us and they can't afford what we're teaching them, we give out bursaries or
Right.
financial aid.
Right.
Is there something like that, a component where you help kids? Like our motto would be like, any child that comes to our doors, we'd like to say yes to them, right? What about you guys? What do you do?
Yeah, so the last few years we've been fortunate to be part of Kids for Sport. So they
nice.
they help with financial aid and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean we do our best to try to engage as many kids as possible. So the last couple of years we've had a try ball hockey event just for people to kind of come and try it for an hour and see whether they like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the response has been good. Yeah.
So of course you can't really run an organization like this without funding.
Yeah.
So is that just based on a lot of sponsors that you guys, try to go out in the community and actively recruit, or do you get funding from the government, or how does that work?
We were able to apply for grants or whatnot. There is not a lot of sponsorship dollars out there right now, especially given the way the market is and everything. But yeah, I mean that is sort of just working within a budget you have as well, right? So we have our registration fees that fund the majority of the sport. We're not obviously looking to turn a profit here, but just grow the sport and make sure everyone's having fun.
So you said that it started in March and it goes till June.
So our season, the provincials end usually around Canada Day long weekend.
Okay.
But then in July and even into August, you have Western Championships, Nationals, and then Worlds. So you could technically go into mid-August
if kids are still involved in that
yeah,
and they're doing all of that, then they will.
Yeah.
But right now we could say you're a little bit in the off season.
Right.
You're in the off season, and so when does registration start up for kids? How can they find out more information? Let's just share all that with us.
Yeah. So we're actually in the process of looking into a fall season to see if because there's dry floor available at the Poirier Forum. So that may be something new, but usually our registration would open early fall, so October, November, and then you just go to our website, tcmbha.com, and you can register there. So.
Okay, and just going back to the logistic of the sport itself. So really, it's two nets, two teams on opposite sides. Get the ball in the net, you score. Yeah. There's offsides. It's very similar to the hockey again. Just no ice and a little bit of a different ball.
That's right.
Right, but otherwise everything, all the rules are similar too.
Yeah. The only real difference is there's a floating blue line in ball hockey, but other than that, the rules penalties, all that is very similar.
And what else would you like our viewers to know about the sport?
Just come try it. It's a great sport. It's been growing, and our teams are getting bigger. Just even provincially, like the sport is really getting organized now. So it's a lot of fun.
And how old is your youngest participant?
The youngest
5?
participant would be 5. Yeah, that's
5.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'd be worried about them getting hurt.
Yeah, it's usually them trying to figure out what's going on, but it's fun. There's a big difference from when they start the season in March all the way till June. So,
Yeah, and you get gratification from that
Yeah,
growth, right? So
yeah.
I think for you, I mean, at this point, being the president and such, although your children are in it, I think you're also like seeing the sport grow. You're seeing how kids are growing as well within that sport. Like little Johnny, who was 5, who's now 9,
That's right.
is now scoring 3 goals in a game, which is amazing. Before he didn't even know what net to throw it in, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it
yeah.
is. It is. It's
Yeah.
very similar to the young kids playing soccer. They don't know there's that
Yeah.
whole huddle of them running
Yeah.
in one direction. The little Tim Hortons huddle of kids. So
Yeah, it's true.
so I think that's great. It's a different and new sport. I'm glad that you reached out. And today we're talking to Amin Bra, and he is the president of the Warriors Minor Ball Hockey Association. If you're interested in allowing your child to play, he promises that they won't get hurt. But even as young as 5 years old and all the way up to 21, please check them out on their website below. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Kathy Chenna.